Hello, and we have Ravi here with us on the show. Thank you so much, Ravi, for spending some time to share with us on this very interesting topic that I believe affects all of us. In terms of technology, it's such a broad topic. It covers from your mobile phone to automation in factories. Is a really huge word, and so obviously there are pros and cons to it. There are both sides to the same brush, essentially. So, what are your thoughts? Would technology bring about more empowerment or enslavement?
Let me represent a very big picture of things happening. See, artificial intelligence is the thing of the future. They talks about a human interaction with the artificial intelligence systems, okay? And there needs to be collaboration between technology and people in the future. The reason is that people cannot do everything. That is where artificial intelligence technology fits in. If you look at Malaysia, it needs to be implemented in a manner that is suitable for this country. So the good thing about Malaysia is that the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology has come up with blueprints. For example, the IR 4.0 plan, which is actually value-added manufacturing. And in their plan, they are specifically referring to elements of technology such as artificial intelligence, big data analytics, and Internet of Things. So these are the key components that have been identified by the government to be the future for Malaysia. You will find that there are certain technology drivers that have already been identified. You see sensor technology, again, intelligent systems, analytics, discovery, blockchain. So these are the key drivers for our nation. And these are the elements that are going to drive our economic development for the future. Now, the question is, will it empower or will it enslave? I have identified 4 areas of concern, and I'll run through them with you. The first one is privacy. Now, are we okay if our personal details are made available for commercial interests? Some people are quite neutral to it. Some people are very concerned about it. But let's drill down a little bit further. You see, Facebook has the ability to capture your location data. They're going to know where you are. You may not realize it, or you may think it not significant, but your location data reveals a lot about your behavior. It's going to know what we are doing. So the question we have to ask is, are we sharing too much information? Your personal data, can you ever be sure that it's kept private? I get lots of calls coming in, and people seem to know my name. They know my phone number. Okay, how do they know me so much? I don't advertise myself.
That's scary, right?
Yeah, how do they know so much? How do these financial institutions know that I need a loan? How do they make these decisions? So obviously, this my data has gone wider than I thought possible. So this picture is taken in Korea. You can see writing in Korea. So what it's doing is tracking vehicles. So it knows each vehicle because the vehicle has got an identification. It also knows individuals. So we see implementations of this in China also, where they have facial recognition technology to specifically pinpoint a person. So what happens is, you have this internet space, big black hole, because you don't know what's actually happening in there. So you have facial recognition software. See, it's recognizing who is who. CCTV, which captures this information. There's location data. If you're not careful, if your phone is not in flight mode, and in fact, in flight mode also, you can still locate. You're going to know who it is, where they are, confirmed with facial recognition, your phone numbers, and your vehicles, for example, IP address. So it tells a lot about your movement. Now, why would a government ever want to know so much information?
To find a criminal, maybe?
Yes.
Kidnapping case?
Yes.
Robbery?
Yeah, possible. Those are good things to do. But does it need to be to this extent? Does it need to extend to the entire population? Something to think about. There's no right or wrong answer here. But what's interesting is this. You see, this is a photo in China that identifies individuals, right? So right now, governments have the mechanism to tap into mobile networks. They just need to pass a law in parliament, and then work with the mobile companies, and they can actually record your conversations. You don't need somebody sitting there listening to it, because you can have AI technology to understand specific words that you put together and say, look, we need to monitor this particular individual who has either posted or talked about this issue using these words.
I mean, if that is to suss out, possible terrorists or possible harm or bad guys that would be taking place, I think that's okay. But if you were to use it for blackmail or like personal use, let's just say you're discussing some big deals, or you're having an affair and whatnot, then that would be an invasion of privacy.
Yes.
Right? So is the government allowed to tap into our calls and record it on the basis of national threat and security?
So the question is, what is national threat or security? You can have somebody with a different political ideology. Mm-hmm. You're not a terrorist, but you don't agree with the government, and you're quite vocal about it, and they track you. Perfect.
That's right.
Perfect platform. Yeah. Now, is this person capable of creating harm? No. That person just doesn't agree with you, but is perceived to be a threat, or is perceived to be going against the government. It's just that you're not too happy about things, and you're expressing it, but the government sees that as a threat. Okay, so that is something to think about, because we live in a pluralistic society. Everybody has their own perspective of things. So the question right now is, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable? You have something called a cancel culture. Yeah. This is the majority. You got to think this way. If you're the minority who doesn't think this way, you're considered enemy of the state, and therefore you'll be monitored. Yeah. Is that healthy? I think it's not. I wouldn't like to be that, because I want freedom of expression. I want to express my opinions, because I believe that that's my right. Have you noticed that life was so different before the internet?
That's why it was much more simpler.
Simpler. So right now, with so much information available, if technology was there to make life easy, it is actually confuse you a lot more. You think about it.
That's true.
You see, because for any one particular issue, there seem to be multiple perspectives from credible sources with opposing views.
That's right.
Example, cholesterol. One day they say eggs is good for you. Another day, eggs is bad for you. It's a never-ending battle. So what do? I'll read everything and I make a decision. I'll have 3 eggs a day. That's my threshold.
That's right. I mean, just like some people might think, oh, technology might bring enslavement, but doesn't mean you're not going to use it, But you just use it wisely.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is in Singapore. They've got this machine over here that has sensors, cameras, and image processing software going around. It can recognize groups of people that don't meet SOPs, and then will tell you, you shouldn't be here, you should maintain distance of 1.2 meters or 2 meters, whatever. Okay, the question is, can we accept a machine telling us what to do?
In Malaysia, it might be tough to implement as compared to Singapore, who are more compliant. But I see robots like this in hospitals.
Yes.
They could be in restaurants as well, serving or guiding you. Recently,
so in a restaurant, that's fine, because people are there for a particular purpose. But when it comes to enforcement, look at the Malaysian attitude. Even when you have an officer telling you what to do, you see the reactions. You see, Malaysia generally averse to being told what to do, let alone by what they view as an inferior thing. How can this machine tell me what to do? Something to think about. See, you have RFID, radio frequency identification devices, right? Chips. So there was some debate about how useful are these chips to you or to society in general. The moral question then arises is this: does it require an affirmation of loyalty? For example, the government will say, look, we are expecting our citizens to adopt these ideas, right? If you adopt it, you take the chip. Okay, if you don't take the chip, right, you're considered, you don't agree with me. So what happens? You have this cancel culture coming in again. You don't take the RFID for whatever reasons. It can be for religious reasons, or you just don't like putting things in your body. Can be considered to be an enemy of the state. So what if the implementation extends beyond just identification? You see, we carry an IC right now. We can lose it, but if you have a chip in your hand, you can just confirm just by flashing your hand against a sensor, right? Now, the only way that's not going to happen if you lose your hand, okay? But if the device now starts to track and control you like a mobile app, the system can be such that if you do not take this chip, you cannot buy or sell. You have money in your bank account, but you cannot transact. What are you going to do? See, this is where it really enslaves you.
Yeah.
So we want to ensure we never come to a stage whereby technology comes to taking away all your rights and then putting into a little box where you're considered to be the minority that is an enemy to the majority.
I think on another aspect, psychologically, we need to practice a little bit more empathy, that everybody has their own biases, their own perspective. And if we reach a certain level of awareness to accept that everybody has a different level of awareness, we accept your opinion and your awareness based on your life experiences, and I have mine as well. And if we are able to accept both level of awareness, then I think we will be more accepting of each other's opinions. So I think the main agenda is not to convince others that I'm right about this. We should use technology or we should not. We should all go against it. So at the end of the day, have a very open mind towards technology. And I like how you said technology is actually neutral. It's how we apply it and how we use it that makes a difference, whether we use it for good or for bad.
I have a very simple definition of technology. Technology is anything that is invented by humans to benefit humans that runs on electricity. So that includes your fan, your air conditioning, your laptop, your mobile. To me, that's a wider definition of technology. It's just a matter of sophistication. And you'll notice right now, there's a shift towards sophistication that is based not so much on the mechanical or the electrical operations of a device, but rather how that device processes data and connects the dots using AI. You mentioned about addiction, right?
Yeah, I have children, so this is very relevant.
Yes. So what's going to happen to your children when you take the devices away?
Well, I've got two. With my son, he's still okay, but he doesn't fret. But the younger daughter, who grew up in lockdown and was born in a digital world, I think she is more attached to it, also based on their personality, Sometimes we're at fault also, as parents, we want a break and we just let them watch a little bit and then they become, hooked onto it. But it's also our fault because we allow it. And or when they're eating and then they're watching, otherwise they can't eat. Now, I don't agree with that. When my children eat, it's no gadgets on the table. 2 hours before sleeping time, there's no gadget as well. You have to do your sport, your language, your music, the 3 items that they have to do. And then you have to earn your reward time when it comes to playing with gadgets, So I think gadget is a necessity. Otherwise, how are we going to breed future leaders who are aware of technology? How are they going to be the future Jeff Bezos? How are they going to learn coding if we don't expose them to any gadgets or device? So I think in moderation, and we have to control the time and the content.
Second thing is, you cannot have, you find that their attention span is so short, they cannot really have much of a conversation with you.
That's true.
They find that their devices are their best friends.
Yeah.
And, they want to know about, how do they know about nature? How do you know about a waterfall?
They Google it.
They Google it. They never
watch
actually
videos.
To one, So, of course, that's a good way. If I want to go to Paris, I just look at the pictures of the Eiffel Tower. I say, well, I can look at a 3D version also. I say, well, I don't need to go there, perhaps. Okay, so that's the other possibility. But the lifestyle has changed.
Yeah.
The question is it for good or is it not for good? That's the question.
Yeah, that's true though. I mean, nothing beats real life face-to-face communication for me. But no doubt technology has brought about a lot of conveniences to help us stay connected, because we could meet face-to-face, but if we don't connect after that, or we never see each other, whether by phone or whatnot, we would just lose touch.
Yes.
So I think it works in tandem. Like, we have to accept the fact that technology is here to stay and how we integrate it with humanity. Right. So it's not about us overcoming technology or vice versa, who controls who. It's more about how we integrate together seamlessly to create a better future.
My position is this: technology is always neutral. Or whether you invented an algorithm for AI, it is always neutral. It is what I want to do with it.
Yeah.
You see? So it is people who actually empower or enslave.
True.
Technology is actually quite dumb. Okay, you have a device, a supercomputer, which does the smartest chess game. I pull out the plug. Can it play the chess game anymore? No. It relies on us. We decide. So, thing is this: technology must always serve humanity. Very important to realize that. It is there for our convenience. We are the dominant species. We decide. We want technology to serve us in this particular way. And you shall serve me. I'm the boss. But humanity must never serve technology. That's very, very important. So, whether you empower or you enslave, it's our decision.
True. Yeah, it's how you use it.
It's how we use it.
Your intentions when you use a certain technology, the use of it, whether for good or bad, it translates to, it boils down to that own personal agenda, I guess. But thank you so much for sharing with us your thoughts. And I think it's time for us to bring on our other expert to share a little bit more about empowerment and enslavement of technology. What do you think?
Thank you, Julie. Fantastic.
Thank you.